This is Candi Prambanan, and this part of Candi Prambanan they call it Candi Roro Jonggrang. And what we see here, all these piles here, must be the most challenging jigsaw puzzle in the world. What goes through your mind when you come across something like Stonehenge or 1,000 temples sitting on a sun-soaked plain like this? Now, this is the Prambanan plain. The ruins here have mystified Javanese people for centuries. Now, among the many stone statues here, inside one of these shrines, one of them stood out prominently, and it was the statue of a slender maiden whom they called Roro Jonggrang, and it was the statue of this slender maiden that inspired the story of Roro Jonggrang. Once upon a time, a fearsome ogre, a giant or monster by the name of Bandung Bondowoso, conquered this kingdom and asked the princess to marry her. The princess agreed on the condition that he must build 1,000 temples in one night. Now, unknown to the princess, Bandung Bondowoso had magical powers. After nightfall, he summoned thousands of elves from the earth and made them build the temples. Now, soon after midnight, 900 temples were completed. Princess Roro Jonggrang, or who the people called her, panicked, and she thought of a plan to trick the elves. She got the women in the village to pound rice, something which they would only do at dawn. When the elves heard the pounding, they thought the sun had risen and they would be vaporized. So they disappeared back into the earth, and the temples were left uncompleted. Bandung Bondowoso was furious when he found out that he had been tricked by the princess. He used his magic to turn her into a stone statue, and that's the stone statue inside the temple of Shiva behind me. Now, in reality, the statue depicts the Hindu goddess Durga, consort of Lord Shiva. The three temples lined up in a north-south axis east of the Opak River were the temple of Vishnu, the temple of Shiva, and the temple of Brahma, respectively. Now, those who fabricated this legend knew very little about their Hindu ancestors who built this magnificent estate. Now, we can't really blame the contemporary Javanese for not knowing much about their Hindu ancestors. It's just like the Europeans. For the longest time, the only historical or so-called historical document that they had was the Bible. So when they excavated all these artifacts which point to a civilization that is completely different or that's totally not mentioned in the Bible at all, they started to wonder, and then from their studies, the science of archeology was born. Unfortunately, it's a Monday morning, and I didn't know that on Monday mornings they do cleaning and maintenance to this Candi, which they call Candi Roro Jonggrang, which I've already explained is a misnomer. May have to come again. So the rest of you take note. This place, just this temple, this complex is closed on Mondays for cleaning and maintenance. All these intricate structures are put together without any cement. You don't even find Lego studs on them. There is great precision involved. This must have been a very culturally and technologically advanced civilization. Fortunately, it's lost and we don't know very much about them. This is Candi Lumbung, which means granary in Javanese. Again, its original name, given by the unknown builders, is also not known. Like many Buddhist structures, this temple has a symmetrical concentric layout. The main temple in the center is surrounded by 16 smaller shrines. The good news is a readable inscription has been found here. The temple was dedicated to Manjusri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom. I wonder why they didn't rename it Candi Manjusri. Candi Bruba, this is almost entirely Buddhist in character. There are some Buddhist statues inside the niches as well, but without their heads, unfortunately. Candi Bruba was just a random pile of rocks when I last visited in 1997. That's why it was named Bruba, which means damaged in Javanese. After extensive restoration and reconstruction, which were completed in 2017, the temple is no longer damaged. Like many other temples in the area, Bruba was originally a Buddhist temple, later repurposed by the Mataram Kingdom as a Hindu temple without major alterations. The long vertical niches once housed standing Buddhas. They were removed and replaced by much smaller statues. The first Indic religion to arrive in Indonesia was Buddhism. This isn't surprising because Buddhist monks and scholars were known to be great travelers. Nominal Hinduism was introduced later by the merchants, but priests were brought in from India later on, when Javanese rulers preferred Hinduism. Many Buddhist temples were thence converted into Hindu temples. Some sketchy records have been found here. Candi Sewu is apparently older than the main Prambanan complex, predating it by about 70 years. It even predates Borobudur by over 30 years. Some of the Buddhist temples could have been saved from conversion when the eruption of Gunung Merapi buried them in ash. Eventually, the ferocity of Merapi's eruptions would depopulate Central Java and give rise to a new center of power in East Java. From what was uncovered until now, Candi Sewu stands as the second largest Buddhist temple in Indonesia after Borobudur. There is still extensive reconstruction going on here. The original temple, viewed from the air, has the symmetry of a Buddhist mandala. This is the model on which reconstruction is based. As you can see, it's quite a monumental task. Candi Plausan is located outside the Prambanan complex about 1 kilometer away. It's a separate entrance fee, but it's worth it. There are over 100 stupas in this compound and some 58 shrines of various sizes. Plausan Law consists of two very similar main temples and an open area known as a mandapa. Both main temples have an entrance, a gate, and a fearsome guardian statue. Plausan was constructed in the 9th century
by a princess from the Buddhist Salyendra dynasty. Inscriptions here say that she married Lord Bikatan, a Hindu king of the Mataram kingdom, who might have built the temple of Shiva at Prambanan and other Hindu temples here as well. Now, those who have an attachment to the Roro Jonggrang myth suggested that the statue of Durga was modelled after the Buddhist princess's likeness. This marriage could have started the trend of Hinduism replacing Buddhism in Java.
I've been here back in 1997, and since then they have restored this place even further, and it looks even more majestic than before. Alright, this is Candi Plausan Lor. Lor means north in Javanese, so this is the northern temple. There's a southern temple, it's twin, which is Candi Plausan Kidul. So I'll be seeing both of them and making some comparisons. It's simply impossible to capture the magnificence of all these monuments on camera. You just have to be here to really appreciate and feel for it. This is simply amazing. The local Javanese people doing their wedding shoots in their traditional gown. You can see a couple of stems of the Buddhist stupa sticking out over there, and over here you can see the completely restored stupa. These are probably Hindu deities, and they have been built over the original Buddhist structures. So there's still a blend of Hindu and Buddhist elements here. Very interesting. A tedious restoration process. Alright, this is Plausan Kidul, the southern twin of Plausan Lor. It doesn't really look like a twin because obviously there hasn't been much restoration going on here. Still a lot of work to do. The last time I came, it wasn't even here. There was practically nothing here, so they discovered something, and they have now named this place Plausan Kidul, or South Plausan. It's going to take a while for them to put all the pieces together again. It'll be interesting to come back and have a look a few years from now. An empty chamber, nothing much you can see here. I'm seeing this monument for the first time. This is Candi Sojiwan. It's located south of the Prambanan temple complex, just across the highway. It's another fascinating temple, a Buddhist temple with a Hindu overlay. You really need to be here to feel the magnificence of this monument. And as you may be able to tell, the bricks, the components are stacked together without any cement. Incredible precision. This must have been a culturally and technologically very advanced civilization. Unfortunately, we don't know too much about them, about these people, because there are not many records of the Sailendra and the Sanjaya kingdom which prevailed during this time 1,200 years ago. While Majapahit might reign supreme politically, the people who lived in this era in central Java were great, probably some of the greatest artisans in the world. Right, this is Candi Kalasan. As you can see, it's under heavy renovation or maybe even reconstruction. Let's hope it will look a lot more attractive than this after the work is done. Let's hope they can find a place for all these bits and pieces, put everything together, and they have a very nice candi. Reconstruction and piecing back of the original parts is a lot more difficult than building up the place from scratch. And also, reconstruction must also take place with knowledge of history, with research, and not just randomly put things together, then it will not be authentic. So authenticity is very important. That's why it's taking so much time. All these are the stalks, if you can call them that, of the stupas. There must have been a lot of stupas here. All these stalks have been broken off. I can see 4 stupas near the top there, and I guess the structure in the middle has to be a big stupa, like the one at Borobudur. And these look like the bases of the stupas. So many of them. So once they find the body and piece everything together, we should have a complete stupa. We should have many complete stupas. Now the bits and pieces over here belong somewhere up there. So as time goes by, more and more pieces are excavated, and then they have to do some patching up, some reconstruction. And I'm very glad that while work is being done on this piece, they allow free access. In Singapore, they'll probably shut the place down and disallow anybody from entering.